dodge a ball. I'm fine. I'm okay. Ow, man! Wake up, Smithy. Holy hell, son, you're about as useful as a flavored lollipop. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
What?
Any other questions?
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. We cover a lot of little ticks and talks of the Donald Trump 2024 campaign. We try not to miss a moment, and we don't even miss moments that weren't supposed to be filmed, like these private receptions at Mar-a-Lago, when Donald Trump does something really, really special, where he just straight up asks people, hey, you got a question for me? This is how different Donald Trump is from Joe Biden. Trump just walks up to the podium, gives his remarks, and he's like, oh, look, I got 5 minutes. Anybody want to ask me a question? Right? I'm arguably the most famous man in the world, one of the most powerful men on earth, and surely you have something for me. And that happened actually at Mar-a-Lago last month. And here was the question.
Any hint at a VP?
Well, I have a lot of good people. We had a lot of them here a couple of days ago on the stage, and we really do. Who do you like?
Who do you like? Donald Trump does. It's like such a classic. Well, so who do you want as VP?
You know, honestly, Tucker Carlson.
I love it. I think
he'll give the truth.
Do it.
He'll speak the truth.
Do it.
A lot of people don't disagree with you.
I want the truth. And
Tucker is a good man.
Tucker Carlson, he says. And, you know, it's like, it's remarkable the thing that Trump does. I mean, could you imagine another presidential candidate doing this? No, you're not going to find another presidential candidate doing this. It's a wonderful thing. Donald Trump does listen to a lot of people. And this actually like informs his thinking. And any time that we do a piece on Donald Trump being, you know, vice presidential selection, we text Team Trump and the people that we know. I'm not gonna name names, but they all come on the show, right? You can watch them on the show, and they'll tell us what's right and what's wrong. And they have told us time and time again that Donald Trump is somebody who makes decisions just like the last clip. He's like very fluid. He like asks a ton of people what they think about a lot of stuff. And it seems as though, due to legal reasons, Donald Trump's team has decided on a short list, right? It's been a long list, now it's a short list. Who are on the short list for vice president? Well, it's generally mirrored what has been reported out, in the open from the Trump campaign and what we've heard from the Trump campaign and reported here. Doug Burgum, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, Elise Stefanik, and Ben Carson. I guess the one name that shocks me on there a little bit more is Byron Donalds, because I hadn't heard that name floated as much. But nonetheless, I think it's a pretty awesome list, actually. So this is part of where it comes from. Trump's doc request reveal VP picks. Former Vice President Trump has requested financial and other documents from 8 potential VP picks as he formalizes his vetting, an official tells Axios. Some intrigue. Some candidates got more extensive paperwork requests than others, a possible clue as to how hotly they're being considered. The contenders in no particular order are what we just read off, along with Tom Cotton from Arkansas. So it looks like our list not matching this list. There were a number of this story was sort of pushed, and so people had different lists. So maybe it's Donald Trump trolling everybody. We're not exactly certain. But these are the people on the list. Who do you want on this list? All right. So let's just go with the Axios list. Who do you want on this list? All right. I've done my own numbers on all this, and I've said I think it's going to be Marco Rubio. I'm not telling you that that's the person that I think would be the best pick from my own personal perspective. I'm telling you that's probably what the Trump campaign is going to do, because of a number of different variables, but very easy variables to see if you like sort of look at them in real time, right? Donald Trump making historic gains with the Hispanic community, Marco Rubio speaking fluent Spanish. He and Marco know each other and have worked well together. And then Marco Rubio comes from sort of an intelligence background in the Senate, right? And so he can like be Trump's guard against those agencies? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just making it up as we go along. But people have told me I'm right, including Anna Paulina Luna, who's a member of Congress, who straight up said, no, you're right. Networks that Joe Biden wants to debate on, right? And, I guess I wonder your thoughts about that, given that he's a senator from the state of Florida. We sort of put the pieces together. We're like, wait a second, so Trump's meeting with DeSantis? DeSantis would be the one who'd appoint the next senator if Marco Rubio was to, bow out and run as VP. It seemed to make sense to us. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I think that you are probably spot on, Benny. You tend to have a good finger on the pulse. But what I will say is that, I'm also seeing that Burgum's kind of up there. So I have my opinion, and I've heard on pretty good sourcing the top three. I think that you've kind of nailed it with all three of them. But, again, the largest voting minority in the country right now is Hispanic Americans. And so I think that Trump, even if he weren't to have a Hispanic VP, he would still get the vote based on his policies and what he's shown to actually be a huge asset to our community. But I do think that Rubio might be up there as a top contender. All
right. I mean, listen, this is our job, right? Nobody needs to thank me. I don't want to be thanked. Nobody needs to thank me. I'm just putting the pieces together. Okay. So that's what I think. People saying Doug Burgum. Trump saying Doug Burgum in my administration. I don't want Doug Burgum. It's nothing personal. I just think the guy's lame. I mean, I think that he doesn't add anything to Donald Trump's ticket. I think you got to bring it all this year. But what do I know? What do I know? Maybe I could be convinced. Well, it's not like I have a say on any of this. Anyway, so Donald Trump talking about J.D. Vance in play, Tim Scott in play, and of course they're on the list here. So Trump narrows his list to 7 candidates. Vetting papers are sent out. What are these vetting papers? It's like, give us all your information, right? We got to know if we're going to bring you onto this campaign. We got all this money. We got all these donors. We got to make sure that you're not some joke or you're not some ridiculous Sarah Palin kind of goof troop, right? And so these are the guys. Doug Burgum, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, Tim Scott are what everybody is speculating is the top list. I've seen a ton of energy for J.D. Vance rolling through right now. A lot of people loving J.D. Vance. I love me some J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a rad dude. What do you think? Ladies and gentlemen? I mean, we asked Ben Carson. Ben Carson's on the list, right? So here you go. You got Ben Carson right there on the list. We asked Ben Carson, you gonna be VP?
You're very close with Donald Trump. Have you had any conversations with Donald Trump about being vice president?
We've had conversations about how we can save this country and that we're going to work together to make sure that gets done.
Okay, well, there you go. There's your answer, baby. Here's your answer. All right, that's
Fox News
it.
Alert, breaking details on Donald Trump's search for vice president. Reports out tonight that say the Trump campaign has begun the process of formally requesting information from a small group of potential running mates. The vetting process has begun. The potential candidates are North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, and Ohio Senator J.D. Vance.
So everybody has their own little bit of, their difference in reporting here, but who knows? A lot of this stuff, it's very interesting. Something that Donald Trump has been doing in interviews, has been saying, really downplaying this decision, but then giving us a time that he's going to make it, and he's going to make it at the convention. That's what he says. So I'll make the decision at the convention, and I'm going to announce it at the convention. So we say, booyah. Like, do it on stage, do it in the giant light bar, come walking out with one of these guys. I think that's a fine list. I think that's a totally fine list. There's a fine list, right? My boy Vivek and Tucker being left off. What's going on here? Anyway, can't always get what you want. And it's important that we win. So I want to win. And I have a feeling the Trump campaign, who's made a lot of really wise decisions in this campaign, will be making a wise decision. We're not going to get another Mike Pence. I think I've been convinced of that for certain. It's your boy Benny, praying against another Mike Pence style VP. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel to make sure that Mike Pence is not the VP ever again. See ya.